All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Grady. I'm the president of Electric Boat, and I proudly represent the 17,500 shipbuilders of Electric Boat. We are the only private shipyard in the country dedicated to the design, construction, and maintenance of nuclear submarines for our Navy. Secretary Raimondo, Secretary Walsh, thank you for making a trip to our shipyard. Governor Lamont, Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Courtney, welcome back. Congresswoman Delora, I met you for the first time today, and I know you're no stranger to Electric Boat, but welcome. EB is part of the nation's critical infrastructure, and our shipyard remained fully operational throughout the pandemic. Our dedicated employees came to work every day so that we could remain on mission to deliver the world's most sophisticated machines to our Navy. And I wanted to take this opportunity to publicly thank our team for their perseverance and their grit during a challenging year for all of us. For centuries, shipbuilders have passed their skills to apprentices, helping new tradespeople develop and refine their craft. Today, our apprenticeship programs and workforce development efforts continue that long tradition. EB, with the help of our regional partners, our state and federal funding, we run a range of programs to help recruit, hire, and train the skilled workforce of our future. Today, you got a chance to meet some of our apprentices, and each brings a wide variety of education, job, and life experience to our critical mission. Well, I've been in the shipbuilding business now for many years. Being able to witness firsthand and daily the incredible talent and ingenuity of our people is what makes what we do so personally rewarding to me. So today, for the first time in a generation, we are building two classes of submarines, the Virginia class of fast attack submarines and the Columbia class of ballistic missile submarines. So that we can respond to the needs of the Navy, we're hiring thousands of new employees. We are open for business. We hired more than 2,000 last year, and we'll do that again this year. We can only achieve this level of hiring by continued partnerships with our training pipelines and with the continued support of our state and federal leaders. And I will tell you, since I've been back for about 18 months, I am overwhelmed by the great support we get from our congressional delegation. So I want to say thank you to the great work that you're doing on behalf of Electric Boat. And we also know that our apprenticeship programs are an effective way to hire and grow skilled employees. So once again, on behalf of the men and women of Electric Boat, thank you for the great support we get. It's now my pleasure to introduce Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning. It's terrific to be here. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you to the governor. Governor Lamont's doing a terrific job here. Thank you for hosting us in your home state, and to your congressional delegation. I agree with Kevin. Connecticut is very lucky to have such hard-working congressional delegation, and I know that firsthand because I saw you since I was your neighbor, and I want to thank you for your service. And, of course, to my colleague and my partner, Secretary Walsh. Marty and I are going to work very closely together to continue improving and developing and expanding apprenticeship programs and job training programs, because every American deserves a shot to get a decent job. Not everyone needs to go to college to get a decent job. We've seen that today, and I think I can confidently say that Secretary Walsh and I are going to work hard every day in order to expand and improve these programs in partnership with great companies like Electric Boat and General Dynamics. I do especially want to credit Kevin and the team for the great work you've done during COVID. You stayed open in Connecticut and in Rhode Island, were safe and kept your employees safe the whole way through, and that's a credit to your leadership. So thank you. I don't have to tell anyone here, but a lot of Americans continue to struggle after the pandemic, and millions of Americans are still without work and struggled all of last year. And apprenticeships are going to be a key piece of helping us dig out. The reality is that today, in order to get a decent job, you need some degree or credential or skill or trade past high school. That's a fact of our economy. And you saw the folks that got hurt the most during the pandemic are those that were in the lower wage, lower skill jobs. So in order to do that, we're going to have to really invest in job training and apprenticeship, exactly as you have been doing here. Investing in our workforce is critical to give Americans a shot and to improve our American competitiveness, which is what I'm focused on as Commerce Secretary. Now, fortunately, we have a president who knows that, and a president who's going to be there investing in American workers. The president's jobs package includes a $48 billion investment in American workforce development infrastructure and will create 1 to 2 million new registered apprenticeship slots. That's incredible. The president, and we have to have the president's back by getting this passed through Congress. Now, I will say, as governor of Rhode Island, I saw this actually with Electric Boat's operation in Quonset. My time there, we invested heavily in worker training, apprenticeships, in our community college, in the Westerly Education Center, and as a result, we put almost 2,000 Rhode Islanders to work in good-paying jobs at Electric Boat in Quonset Point, and growing, and growing. And we did that in partnership. The secret to successful job training and apprenticeship is a partnership between labor and business, between workers and the companies that employ them. And in that regard, EB is a model in the work that the Secretary of Labor and I will look to expand. I recently saw a study that apprenticeship programs, workers in apprenticeships can earn $240,000 more over the course of a lifetime than those who don't participate in the apprenticeship. And, you know, we just met so many young people. And they say, I got a real job, a decent job, a job where I can take care of my family. That's what this is all about. So I'm excited to be here. We are all proud of you here. I want to thank the governor for his support of all of these programs, and to let you know we're going to continue to work closely with you. With that, I want to turn it over to the fantastic Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh, former mayor of Boston, did a lot of this work as mayor, and together he and I are excited to expand this, working for the president. Please welcome Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and it's awesome to be at a public event with you. It's been almost a year since I've been at a microphone talking to people because of the COVID-19, so I might be up here for about a half hour. Don't worry about me. No, I want to, as Gina said, you know, it's exciting. In my hearing for Secretary of Labor, one of the members of the committee mentioned about commerce and labor should be back together. It shouldn't be commerce versus labor. It shouldn't be labor versus commerce. It should be all of us working together. So I look forward to that. Governor, thank you for having us today. I truly appreciate it. Congressman Courtney, thank you for having us in your district today. It's beautiful. I was talking outside and grabbed the congressman. I said, is this your district? He says it is. I'm like, wow, it's a great company to have in your district, so congratulations. I know Congressman Larson had to step out. I want to thank Congressman Larson. One of my fastest favorite growing congresswomen is Delora, thank you very much, who's also the chair of the committee that I'm on, so thank you very much. And Senator, thank you for being here as well, which I'm bringing you up in a minute. To Kevin and everyone here at Electric Boat, thank you. It's been, honestly, it's been an amazing tour, and it's been amazing to hear the people that are working in this, the apprentices here, talk about their experiences. And what struck me, honestly, it struck me was every single one of them talked about the impact it has on their family. And you don't hear that every day. And they talk about, you know, I'm able to help raise my daughter, I'm able to help raise my kids. And that's really what this is all about. When we talk about good paying jobs and good jobs and apprentice programs, when we roll them out, we talk about families. And oftentimes when people get into them, we don't hear much about that, but we did today, it was great. The Registered Apprentice Program right here at Electric Boat is a great example of labor management partnership through the DOL's American Apprentice Initiative. As I said earlier, you have to have that relationship. We should not be at odds with each other. We should not be fighting. It shouldn't be labor versus management. It shouldn't be unions versus companies. We need to continue to work together. I want to recognize the unions that are involved here. I don't know if I got you all, but the Metal Trades Council of New London County, thank you. The UAW Marine Draftsmen Association, Carpenters Local 1302, and any other trades I missed. I apologize, but thank you for your great work as well. The Biden-Harris, as Secretary Raimondo talked about, the Biden-Harris administration is committed to investing in the American workforce. As you see today, obviously we're working across cabinets, and we're all here. We're very interested in this. We're excited about being here today. There's an opportunity. We have a very powerful tool for doing what we're seeing here today in the registered apprenticeship programs. And we have a unique opportunity right now to strengthen and modernize and diversify them. At the Department of Labor, we're focusing on making sure that apprentices provide skills in a wide range of industries that we need to win the future. That really is about the future and the work of the future. We're making sure that we prioritize workers who were shut out in the past, particularly people of color and women. We need to make sure that we create these programs for everybody so everyone can benefit from them. This is how we build back better. Already in the first 100 days, we've seen the department has created new funding opportunities to make sure that apprentice programs reach more women and people of color. And looking ahead, the President has proposed new bold investments. The American Jobs Plan is an opportunity to scale these programs to a level that we've never seen before. I know we're joined by the Mayor of New London today. And I was in this job when the President rolled out the American Jobs Plan, and I thought to myself, not as the Secretary of Labor, I thought to myself as Mayor of the City of Boston, the importance of these programs. Just about every single thing that was in the plan impacts the City of Boston, impacts the City of New London, impacts the cities all across this country. This new the American Jobs Plan is going to provide and create up to 2 million new apprentice opportunities. When you think about what the impact that will have on the economy, I asked the press here today if you get a chance to talk to one of the apprentices out in the hallway. The last two we talked to, one is in his third year. He's going to be full. He'll be a journey person after this, and the other young man's in his first year. And talk to them about the impact that apprentice programs have. Think about that, multiplying it to 2 million people all across our country. And we're going to have the tools that we need to make sure we reach workers who need them the most in every corner of America. Today, I'm also going to announce an important step. We're relaunching the Advisory Committee on Apprentice. We're looking to appoint a diverse board, experts from across the country, and from all essential partners that make apprentices work, so we can really have inside the Department of Labor, working with the Secretary of Commerce, working with, quite honestly, the Secretary of Education as well, on how we create real pathways and opportunities that we're going to continue to move forward. We're going to be having union representation on there, employer representation on there, community colleges, which we heard about today, training and organizations. It's going to be really, it's an opportunity for us to kind of not just talk about apprentices, but really relaunch them and get them working the way they're supposed to. These folks will help us guide and grow programs that are effective, innovative, and accessible to all. I've certainly seen these programs work up close personally as the mayor. In 2015, City of Boston partnered with the DOL to bring the American Apprentice Initiative to Boston. We created hundreds of opportunities for women and people of color, and we saw it literally change people's lives and outcomes. And that's what we all talk about, and that's what we really have to do today. So today we know the need is greater all across America, and so is the opportunity. When you look at the investment and innovation happening here at Electric Boat, you don't have to go much further than right here. You can see how these opportunities are real and how important they are for our country. And before I turn it over, I'm going to bring the senator up. As we were going around the site, I thought about the people that work here at Electric Boat, and I thought about the thousands of people that work here, and then I saw a construction project going on outside. And that construction project brings other people here to build a facility, to pour the concrete, to lay down the rebar, to do and build the building eventually. So this is not just a job created for in the facility itself. It creates jobs outside of that. So again, I want to thank Electric Boat for having us here today. And now I have the opportunity to introduce your senior senator from this great state, somebody who I'm getting to know, but for the last year and a half, 2 years, I've watched him on CNN, MSNBC, and all the TV shows talking about the economy, and it's great to have such a champion in the United States Senate that actually, as I was talking to the senator walking around, that truly gets it and understands the importance of these programs, because we need champions in the Congress, we need champions in the Senate, we need champions at the State House, we need champions in City Hall, and we have one of the best champions in the United States Senate, and Senator Blumenthal. I'm going to ask him up here and say a few words.
Thanks so much, Secretary Walsh. Really appreciate that wonderful introduction. The governor instructed me to be less than 20 minutes in what I have to say, and I told him that senators just begin to clear their throat in 20 minutes. So I'm really, by the way, honored to be here with our governor, who is a real hero of public health, of economic progress. Connecticut, I think, first in the nation to surpass 50% vaccination, which means we're going to be reopening we're going to be reviving our economy. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership. And with two-sub Joe, Courtney, now that we're going to have 2 Virginia class per year and the Columbia, 3 sub Dick. Does that sound okay, Joe, or no? But Joe Courtney has been such a champion and recognized. And of course, for us, the most powerful person in the room, our chairman, chairwoman, Congresswoman DeLauro of the Appropriations Committee. But really, I want to salute the 2 cabinet secretaries who are here. You know, I've been here, I don't know how many times, and once in a while, a member of the President's cabinet shows up, like the Secretary of Defense. But for the first time, at least so far as I can remember, 2 cabinet secretaries, and 2 of the most important to electric vote, and 2 who normally wouldn't be together, commerce and labor. If you've been in government for a while, you know that business and labor typically are on opposite sides of the table. And I think Secretary Walsh and Secretary Raimondo are going to bring a new era, which we need, of cooperation between business and labor. These jobs are great jobs, not just good jobs. They are great jobs. They are union jobs. And President Biden rightly is emphasizing the importance of unions, but most important, the cooperation that we need between business and labor. Electric Boat has a problem. It's a nice problem to have, which is that in the next 6 years, it has to hire 7,000 people. That's just a stark fact. To do the work that the Department of Defense has contracted with Electric Boat to do, it has to hire 7,000 net people. And it can't just put an ad in the newspaper. It has to hire skilled people or train them itself. And that is one of the great challenges. When I go to the Pentagon as a member of the Armed Services Committee, Joe and I, he's a member of the Armed Services Committee in the House, the most common question I'm asked when I say we can build 2 submarines per year, 2 Virginia-class attack submarines, can you find the people to build them? That's what I'm asked by the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Procurement. And that is the challenge for our nation. Can we build the shipbuilders who are going to build those ships? Can we build the talent, the skills, the training? And Electric Boat is doing it. In the last defense budget, I advocated successfully for $20 million to come to submarine training. In the defense budget, we have education money. Why? Because it is a matter of national security. It is really our defense. The undersea domain right now is probably America's greatest asymmetric strength against its adversaries. We dominate under the sea because of the skilled professionals who work right here. That's the reason why we are unmatched in our superiority around the nation, around the world. That undersea domain is going to be as important as any other. I know you hear about cyber, you hear about space. Our national defense will depend on the shipbuilders of Groton. It's that simple, which means the retiring ones need to be replaced and new ones need to be trained as well. So this national security challenge is one that Electric Boat is meeting and overcoming. I'm really proud that they are doing such a great job and have worked through the pandemic, as Secretary Raimondo said. The kind of work that people do here, I think, not only is a source of income, it's a source of real pride and dignity. It's a source of a career, and they can be proud of it. I'm proud to be here today and to now introduce one of the most powerful people in the Congress and a great champion of electric boat, Congresswoman DeLauro.
Good morning. How wonderful to be here with all of you today. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, for the introduction, and thanks for being such a strong voice and a critical ally on workforce development and national defense as you make your way in the Senate. To Kevin, where are you, Kevin? Thank you so much for hosting us today and the comprehensive tour. I'd like to quote my kids when we went through Building 260 and to the new platform. Awesome. Just awesome. I can't tell you. It really is. What a sense of strength, what a sense of quality, and right here in our own community. To you, Governor, I want to just say in October, I think it was 2019, where you signed an executive order to create a workforce council, and it was all about making sure that Connecticut had a high-quality, equitable workforce and developing that system of training. And I guess, is it Kelly who is in charge of that effort? Thank you very much, Kelly. Wonderful, and thank you for the great job. I also want to welcome with such warmth our two secretaries here today. It doesn't hurt, excuse me, Secretary Walsh, but Secretary Raimondo, I mean, this is a paisan, you know, I mean, how we're really very excited. Recently confirmed as the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, first woman to serve as the governor of Rhode Island, and she prioritized the expansion of the registered apprenticeship programs. The results were remarkable. 40 new programs, more than 1,000 new apprentices launching their careers with the registered apprenticeship program. Let me also mention Secretary Walsh. Thank you for being with us today, and I was so honored to welcome him before the Labor HHS subcommittee last week, which was on Workers' Memorial Day. He came before us and talking about the Department of Labor's budget. You know, President Biden has said he will be, and I quote, the strongest labor president. So it really is fitting that he has chosen Marty Walsh for the labor secretary, a second-generation union member, and his fight to give workers a voice is in his DNA. And so thank you for being with us. The only problem, Mr. Secretary, is that you are supporting the Red Sox versus the Yankees. What can I tell you? Anyway, but I want to give a shout out also to the EB workers and the strong unions that support them every single day. It really is a credit to our state. And we had a chance to meet some of the young men and women who are the apprentices. And Joe, I would just say to you, it would be wonderful, and Richard, to get folks before our committees in the House and in the Senate to give testimony to the power of these apprenticeship programs and what it means. And Secretary Walsh mentioned this. Folks just said, it transformed my life. It transformed my life. So you imagine what it is that we can do with federal dollars, with the state help, to make a difference in people's lives. You know, everyone needs the training necessary to be able to find a good-paying job, one that provides economic security for themselves, for their families. And apprenticeships enable companies to build that pipeline of skilled workers, customized skills, while apprentices learn a lucrative trade. And through its apprenticeship program, EB is developing a strong and a consistent pipeline of talent. And that is in conjunction and in partnership with the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board, the training by Three Rivers, and the president of Three Rivers is here today, along with the Community College of Rhode Island, working to make sure that we have this connection of community colleges and the workforce here. So, you know, let me be clear. Connecticut Connecticut's economy only benefits from a more qualified workforce. The combination of on-the-job training, related instruction offered through the apprenticeship program has proven to be a reliable teaching and learning model. Again, I say to the press as well, talk to these young men and women who are on the job here. Apprenticeship programs like the one here at EB, and the more than, I'm proud to say this, 6,700 apprenticeships registered to nearly 1,700 companies that operate in a multitude of occupations across our state, Governor, are critical for our competitiveness and for our leadership in global innovation. The federal government has long played a key role in helping workers learn to grow through workforce development, connecting business with talent. And we need to continue to strengthen this partnership and develop a strong public workforce development system that adapts to businesses' changing needs. COVID-19 has devastated our economy and our workforce. And these folks here never stopped for a moment. Americans across the country are struggling to make ends meet. In April of 2020, last year, the unemployment rate in this country peaked at 14.8%, the highest since the Department of Labor began collecting data in 1948. I am encouraged that Secretary Raimondo, Secretary Walsh, President Biden have made it a priority to invest in the American worker. In the American Jobs Plan, $48 billion in American workforce development infrastructure and worker protection, and it includes registered apprenticeship programs and pre-apprenticeship programs. The President has budgeted in his budget $285 million for apprenticeship grants, a $100 million increase for next year. I'm proud to be the chair of the Labor, Health and Human Services and Education Subcommittee of Appropriations, and we're proud to have established the federal apprenticeship grants in 2016, most recently funded this year with $185 million last year. And I can commit to you that for 2022, it's good to be the chair. It really is, on which we can look at how we do increase the funding that will invest in these programs and provide job training opportunities. It is a new dawn, my friends, and we have the opportunity to build the architecture for the future. Use this as a moment to address the serious inequities that have been exposed by the coronavirus pandemic. I look forward to working with all of my colleagues to promote the type of program that we have here at Electric Boat and to ensure that the resources are there to help working people get ahead. And with that, I would like to now introduce my colleague and my friend, Joe Courtney. Joe Courtney chairs, stay where you are, okay? Joe Courtney chairs the Subcommittee on Sea Power and Projection Forces. He is our unmatched national leader for increased submarine production, resulting in job creation here at Electric Boat and across Connecticut. He lives and breathes in this area, co-chairs the Congressional Shipbuilding Caucus, and as a member of the Education and Labor Committee, I was proud to stand by his side in support of the National Apprenticeship Act that the House of Representatives passed earlier this year. This bill would create 1 million new registered apprenticeships, youth apprenticeships, and pre-apprenticeship positions over the next 5 years. This district and this state of Connecticut are fortunate to have Joe Courtney at the helm. Chairman Courtney.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, which none of us will ever get tired of saying that. And again, in front of everyone, I just want to remind people that Rose's election as chair of the Appropriations Committee, we checked with the House historian. That's the first time in the history of the state of Connecticut anyone's held that position. We are so proud of you. And that was not just riding the wave of seniority. You actually had to kind of jump over a couple heads to get to that position. But frankly, I think it was because the members of the House really understood how hard you work just how open and accessible you are, and just, how your judgment is just so strong. Again, we cannot have a better partner for these two secretaries than Rosa at the chair and holding the gavel in the Appropriations Committee. And again, like all of the prior speakers, I want to welcome both secretaries. You could not come to a better place to really talk about President Biden's Americans Jobs Plan and what it means for registered apprenticeships and for the Workforce Investment Act. This is the birthplace of the Registered Apprenticeship Program, and that's not just because I think this is a great district. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. It's true. The National Registered Apprenticeship Act was passed in 1937. It's known as the Fitzgerald Act. Fitzgerald was William Fitzgerald, who was a congressman from Norwich, Connecticut, just up the road, who, as a freshman, got that legislation passed, and it's still good law today. I mean, all of the structure of the Registered Apprenticeship Program was Congressman Fitzgerald's vision. An interesting guy. His parents were Irish immigrants, just like Secretary Walsh. Sorry, got to give him now a little shout out in terms of the motherland. And but again, at age 15, he went to work in a foundry. Never had a college education. Worked his way up through the ranks. Became Commissioner of Labor in Connecticut. Was elected to Congress. And the Fitzgerald Act, again, is now today his legacy, which again is something that we know works. And EB is just, Exhibit A, the poster child for the fact that when you get labor and management to work together to identify, what is the right curriculum, what's the right pathway for earn as you learn. The fact of the matter is, as all the prior speakers have said, good things happen. And but the struggle has been that we've never been able to size up that law to the point where we could spread the benefits, not just in defense manufacturing, but in all sectors, whether it's healthcare, finance, IT. I mean, the fact of the matter is the potential of registered apprenticeships is limitless. And again, the bill that we passed on February 2nd in the House, Speaker Pelosi made that the first bill that was taken up by the Rules Committee was the reauthorization of the National Apprenticeship Act, which again expands the scope and definitely goes after more populations that, historically have just not been given the opportunity that the apprenticeship program has put in place. Now we have a president and two secretaries who are ready to really size up this program with a $48 billion investment. And it's because he understands, like I think all of the folks here, infrastructure is, it's bricks and mortars, it's roads, it's bridges, it's rail, it's all that stuff, but you need the human infrastructure to make it succeed. And again, I just want to thank both of you for being here today to really footstep that point. I would also just note that the Workforce Investment Act, which is the pre-apprenticeship pipeline pathway to get people started from all walks of life, again, has got a very strong history in this region here. The Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board last year received the Pioneers Award from the Workforce Investment Association, which covers 500 workforce boards across Connecticut, recognizing that the accelerated process that Kevin talked about that has been so successful in this region is a model for the country. And your predecessor, Tom Perez, actually made the same visit that you're making here today back in 2015 when we got the first innovation grant that kickstarted the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board. And it shows even these relatively small investments just have dividends and return on investment that is just really, it's hard to even describe. But again, now we actually have the tools, the jobs plan that is actually going to really meet the moment in terms of coming out of this recession and a lot of dislocated workers looking for what's next in my life. This is the pathway. This is how we do it. And again, it's just so important. And for EB, getting that sub restored last year with all the team here, they now have the largest contract book of business, right, in the history of the company. And I thank you for, again, giving us the opportunity to witness this really exciting moment for a great company and a great team that we saw here with all the folks from the metal trades and the design labor workforce that again, are going to make this succeed. We're going to do this in terms of that incredible backlog. And one of the people that's going to make sure we do that is the next speaker, who, as was alluded to earlier, has really guided this state with such a steady hand, with a great partner in Rhode Island through the pandemic. I remember when he first got elected, The legislative breakfast was in January. I called him and just said, hey, if you're not doing anything today, why don't you come down here and get just an opportunity to take a look at what's going on down here. I figured, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. There's no way he's going to, and he jumped in his car and came down here, and he has been a partner for this company and this workforce from day one as governor. And again, that is one of the reasons why, again, I'm very bullish on the fact that we're going to succeed with this unprecedented workload. Again, it's my pleasure to introduce Governor Ned Lamont.
All right, well, thank you, Three-Sub Joe. I appreciate that. And I feel a little like what Marty was saying, I'm so tired of Zoom. It's just great to see you all here and what this team means. And Kevin, you guys couldn't Zoom. You couldn't go virtual. You were working nonstop for the last 14-plus months. And Soviets weren't stopping. The Chinese weren't stopping, and we weren't stopping either. And we did go to hell and back in the last year or so. And I got to tell you, on a personal note, we're trying to feel our way a little bit. And the first person I always called was my fellow governor, Gina Raimondo. And it's kind of nice. She always picked up the phone. And what do we do next? And how do we explain to people what we're trying to do and how important it is? And together we've made, I think, a big difference for this region, this country. Two of the first states to get over 50% of our people vaccinated. And I think that's helping us get back to a new normal. And I'm just sort of struck. We took this amazing tour, by the way. Talk about things not stopping. We went into where they're building, 4 or 5 different submarines now on a modular basis. I mean, Joe was pointing out 10, 12 years ago was maybe a half a sub in there. And the Admiral said one of the most amazing things about our subs is not just the best technology in the world. You can't be just pretty good. You've got to be the best in the world. And EB has been the best in the world for going on 80-plus years. But also we have the best submariners, the Admiral told me. And that just reminds you the human element of what a difference this makes. From there we went down to the, is it the South Pier platform? South Yard. It's incredible. Have you seen this? I mean, I was joking with Gina, they were complaining that we got the hardest rock in the world. All right, there's Connecticut, something we can be proud of. And they had to drill down on that and just saying, in a million years, I don't know what the world's going to look like, but I know that platform, that facility is still going to be there. And as you guys pointed out, it's going to have more steel than the Eiffel Tower. Those cranes are so big, they can lift up the Statue of Liberty. And that gets us back to workforce. And that gets us back to the team you need to be able to get that job done. And, my job is to do the best I can, working with our amazing federal partners to make sure that you have the folks you need. And I know that not only are you hiring 1,000 plus now, but your peak year is going to be in 2029. Is that what I was told? And so those folks are in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Do everything we can to let them know what an amazing career this is. A great paying job, a job with job security, a job that makes a difference in terms of our world peace, and a job right here in Connecticut and Rhode Island. And if we can't get it right, guys, I don't know who can. We've got Secretary of Labor from Boston, Secretary of Commerce from right next door in Rhode Island. Just throw in, we have a Secretary of Education who's from Connecticut. So I think we have the building blocks to be able to show what a manufacturing pipeline is. And I'll just, leave you with the fact that I think we all know, there's lots of states have different attributes. Some of them have oil, and some of them sell sunshine down in Florida. And I think Connecticut and Rhode Island and Massachusetts, we've always had some of the best trained workers in the world. And that's why we make the most sophisticated equipment in the world, from submarines to choppers to jet engines. And our job together, working with our amazing chairperson of appropriations and my friend Dick Blumenthal with our federal support, I got to make sure that Connecticut and our region maintains the best workforce in the world, because that is the Connecticut advantage. And Kelly's been helping us out, leading the Workforce Council, trying to get business and labor working together, arm in arm, starting as early on as the high schools and earlier, get that job training center in place to make sure that you have each and every person you need over the next 5 years and over the next 55 years. And my job is to make sure they're doing that, make sure they're trained, make sure they're ready to go. You make sure they're hired right here. Thanks, everybody.
Was so enthusiastic about the meeting the other day, I figured I'll ask her a question about it. She also expressed disappointment with the administration on the slowness of getting the new COVID safety rules approved. So what's the status of that, and also what has that taught you about exactly how the local government works in
Well, thank you for that question. It's in the process now. We moved on to the next process, so I really can't talk about it. It's being reviewed now. Hopefully the final product will come back soon. What happened was the president signed an executive order back in January saying that the Department of OSHA could, if they felt necessary, come up with a emergency temporary standard. They were working on it. I became the secretary. I got sworn in as secretary. I wanted to take a look at it because we were in a different place in the virus. We're in a different place with where we are at the virus. When the president signed it, there weren't 100 million people vaccinated at the time. When I got there, it was close to 100 million people, and the president raised the bar to 200 million people. So that's really when I put the, no, I wouldn't say I put the brakes on it, but I slowed it down. We worked together with OSHA. We worked with some members of the Congress. We worked with different stakeholders, and now that process is moving forward.
There's all kinds of friendship programs. I think the public quite often thinks of them as really a door into companies, a door into the building trade. But what you described to us today is really an upskilling of people who've been here in some cases for a few years. So when you talked about the funding for apprenticeships, how much of that is that kind of upskilling of people who are already employed, and how much of it is people who try and get in with it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that we have an opportunity here with the American Jobs Plan, in the American Rescue Plan, the American Families Plan, to reevaluate what we do as employers, employment. Just not the same old, same old. Generally, when I was working pre-apprentice 20 years ago, it was building trades, it was mechanical trades, it was basic trades, getting into those places. When I took over the building trades in 2011, I started to think about how do we diversify the trades? How do we create pathways for people of color and women to get into building trades? Created a program called Building Pathways, where 500 people today are in the trades, roughly 500 people in the trades that weren't in the trades. That was a program we created in Boston. When I became the mayor of Boston, thinking about when we have tech companies coming into the city of Boston, thinking about all these other companies, medical facilities, how do we train young people or prepare them for those skills jobs as well? I talked to the Congresswoman out in the hallway a few minutes ago about thinking about how do we do this in the tech industry. Many of those jobs you don't necessarily need a college degree for, but you do need specific training. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think we have to reimagine in some ways who we're training, who we're educating, to really train the workforce of the future. There's lots of conversations around the country about manufacturing companies, manufacturing being either extinct or moving out. Again, how do we retrain workers in those particular areas that might be working in manufacturing? How do we retrain people that work in the coal industry, in the pipeline industry? It doesn't mean they can't work in the energy space. They already are. So can we train them for jobs in clean energy and green jobs? So there's lots of opportunities here. I think the president has talked to me about it, and the administration has said, let's really think outside the box here, and let's make sure we train with the amount of investment that's happening right now through apprentice programs and workforce development. Let's make sure that we're getting a benefit of those dollars. And I think we saw it here today, where you saw a couple different groups of people. Some came from community college. One young man, we were talking outside, he told us he was a high school dropout, and now he's going to finish his degree. He's getting his degree, and he's going on to a profession here and a career here, and he has a degree now. there's an opportunity for that. So I think that we have to reimagine how we do things. And quite honestly, when I talk to members of the Congress and the Senate, they all say the same thing, Democrats and Republicans alike. How do we strengthen the community college? How do we get more opportunities? You know, there's no Democrat-Republican thing when it comes to job training. It's like, how do we want to train our people moving forward. So I think we have real opportunities here to do some amazing things.
What level of federal investment are you looking at? It's on the 1 to 2 million apprenticeship slots, but what does that translate to as far as money?
The money is, let me just get the figure. I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me get you that exact number. I'm looking at Emma to get me, and Elizabeth to get me the number. So Emma will get me the number in a minute. I'll give you the exact number. I think it's $248 million. $285 million. Thank you, Madam Chair.
What if I could ask Mr. Graney to comment on kind of impact COVID-19 has had on productivity, if any, how you've managed it. I understand now you're in the process of getting your workforce vaccinated. The state is making the vaccine available, and on-site vaccinations are taking place. Can you tell us how many people have you been able to vaccinate at this point?
I think the number I heard was over 5,000 here at EB this past week, including Quonset. Right. So a lot of people have gotten their vaccines, from the community availability of them. But recently, I think about 1,000 just last week, as a matter of fact, here at EB. About half of that at Quonset Point, the other half here in Groton. As far as the impact on the business, it slowed us. We had some issues with separating people. You can imagine the difficulty in separating trades on a submarine as we're trying to construct it. I'm proud of the work that we've done in partnership with our union. They have been just terrific in finding unique and interesting ways and bringing ideas to us to incorporate as we worked hard to go weather the storm here. And I think we've done that very successfully. We got an opportunity to talk about today, coming out of COVID, a lot of the firsts or best ofs we've accomplished on the Virginia construction program through the pandemic, including the delivery of the USS Vermont in April of last year, pretty much at the height of the pandemic. So I couldn't be prouder of our workforce. So it has had an impact, but we are on stride, 2 submarines a year and the modules that support that coming from Quonset Point.